Okay, so my name is Marion Otema, and I'm a student at Strathmore University. I'm also a member of World Now Foundation, and at World Now we focus on conserving the environment, we focus on wildlife, we focus on communities, and we also focus on African youth. So one of our major goals is mitigation of climate change by promoting tree planting amongst communities. And I'd say that's related to the COP27, considering it's a conference to do with climate change. So our organization is completely run by youth, and we do that because we believe that young people need to be more involved in sustainable development, and this is because they're very innovative and very creative. Like if they are empowered enough, they can come up with really great ideas. Because considering the fact that in our organization, apart from our founder, no other person is studying anything related to environment. Most of us are either communication students or business students, but the ideas we come up with no background are still really good. So the reason as to why I'm here for this workshop, it's because of one of our initiatives, and this initiative is related to the mitigation of climate change. So we do, it's called the Pandamiti Initiative, and it involves encouraging tree plantation amongst schools and communities. So we've worked with around 20 schools and communities so far, some of them in Voi, actually 2 schools in Voi, and we've planted over 1 million trees. And from that, we've learned that, for example, one of the things we've learned is the fact that most communities are embracing conservation nowadays, most of them, but you come to realize that because of lack of knowledge, they tend to do the wrong thing, but with the right intentions. Like they have the right intentions, but they don't really know what they're supposed to do. So they do what they know, which most of the time it's usually the wrong thing. Like for example, when we went to Mau Forest, we had a tree plant. When we were starting, most of our trees actually were planted in Mau Forest. And when we were starting, we had to have another project to uproot all the trees that were there because they were the wrong trees for that climate. So from that, we came to realize that we also need to educate people. Like if they're willing to learn and we're willing to teach, we can actually get really far. Because if they're doing the right thing, it means that we can actually get to Ruto's goal faster if people know what they're supposed to be doing. And that's why we think environmental education is very important. And for us, we try to make it fun. We don't go for the normal conferences or events to teach like normal class settings, seminars and all. We actually teach through art and crafts and also storytelling and mentorship. First, I'd say that some communities, as much as most of them are willing to embrace the environmental change, like to participate in conservation, not many are willing to do it. Most people actually think that conservation is either for the older people or the white people. So like you find that when you go to these communities, they're asking us like, why are you doing this? Like, hii ni kazi ya wazungu, like, ama ni kazi ya nini? Like, you guys are young, like, you should be doing something more fun, and it's not that important. So that's the first challenge we've faced. The other challenge we faced was when starting out, we didn't, how do I put this? The government is not fully supportive. Like, there's some things we can do, but there's some policies that are there that are limiting us. For example, we went to Kisumu to plant trees, and normally we just don't do one activity. So as part of exploring Lake Victoria, we decided we wanted to do a cleanup because we had more time. But when we got to the place, we were told we couldn't do the cleanup because we did not have a permit to do the cleanup. So yeah, that's also a great challenge. And I'd say the last one, it's the perception that the older you are, the more credibility you have. So when we were starting, people didn't take us seriously because we were 18, 19 years old. So they were like, you guys are too young, you don't know what you're doing. Probably this is just your way of, passing time, but it's not something we're actually serious with. So the fact that we were young, till now, okay, although it's changing, but it's still there somehow for the older organizations. We got there and they see us and they're like, because we are young, we lack credibility. Like, we don't have the knowledge required, or most people say that the youth are the future, but I'd like to believe they're the present. Because whatever we are going to have in the future, we have to work for it right now. Because most old people are going to be retiring, and some of them might not even get to the future. But for us, we are the future. Like, we are the present, and we're supposed to be acting for our future. So if all of us were to start working right now, we'd have so much improvement by the time we're getting to the future. Instead of working in the future, we'd probably be too late by then. So if we start working now, we can achieve a lot. Although it's going to be small steps, because we're young, we don't have funding all the time. We have to get funds and everything. But small steps, and by the time we're getting to that future, it's going to be way better than it is right now, instead of starting later on. So that's why I believe it's easier to target people when they're still young.